Abby. Yep.
Someone who just logged in, could you identify yourself? You have the name, waiting for name on the caller ID. And caller one, no, that's Amanda. Katie, turn off your camera. Oh, there you go.
She is.
Or turn it around.
Hi, Katie.
You're muted though, Katie.
Okay, let's open this meeting. We'll start with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, number 2, open public forum. Anybody that's not on the agenda that wishes to speak. Right, we'll move on to number 3, approval of the amended agenda. I need a motion. Make a motion to approve. Jamie makes a motion. How about a second? Shannon seconds it. Any discussion? Otherwise, we'll be voting. Jerry?
Yes.
Doug?
You're muted.
You're muted, Doug.
Sorry, yes.
Jamie? Yeah. Shannon?
Yes.
And I'm a yes, that passes. Number 4, consent agenda, recommendation to approve the consent agenda as presented. I need a motion. Make a motion to approve. Jamie makes a motion, how about a second?
This is
I'll
Doug. I'll
second. This is
second it.
Gary.
Doug seconds it. Any discussion on it? Otherwise, Gary,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Jamie? Yes. Shannon? Yes. And I'm a yes. Motion carries. Number 5, bar and restaurant discussion, opening discussion. Should I read the recommendation right away, or we can get a motion and then we can discuss whatever we need?
Yep.
Okay, recommendation to approve resolution number 2020-28. A resolution approving of expanded outdoor seating and outdoor liquor sales for Cold Spring bars and restaurants. I need a motion on that.
This is Gary. I'll make a motion.
Gary makes a motion. I'll second. Davey seconds it. Discussion on it.
So what this will do, you have in your packet the proposed applications. There'd be no fee for anyone, but anyone with a liquor license application would fill out a form, let us know who the applicant is, the business, their current license number, who their contact is, phone number, the address of the establishment. They'd have to submit a amended site plan that shows their whole parcel ID, because originally they were supposed to just do the building or any outside space, but if they want more expanded space, they can do their 4 corners of their lot. And then they sign it. The only requirements is they show that those with the liquor liability coverage extends to that new area. So I don't know if they already cover the whole premise or if they only cover your service area. So that would be one thing that needs to be discussed with their liquor liability agent. They'd have to show markings, some sort of fencing. Jason and I have discussed even cones somewhere that says this is where they can be drinking under our license and this is where they can't be drinking. And then on-site garbage recycling, empty, keeping the outside space clean. For those on County Road 2, which is only one, the county has a requirement, but I don't know if they will be using the sidewalk. And some of those requirements are if they want to use the sidewalk, we close it down and say it's closed so that we don't violate ADA. So people would have to go other way around. And then it's up to you on, do you want to expand, shut off the driving lanes, making no parking in front of the restaurants for the time being so that they can have more space on the sidewalk. Perhaps barricade the parking lane. So I think some of it needs to be accommodated on an individual basis. So Jason and I would like to have authority to work with them to comply with these rules as best they can. Do you have anything to add to that?
So, in other words, like Red River Inn, if they would want to have sidewalk seating on County Road 2 side, the Red River side, you would have to shut down the whole.
They have a form. It's just like our proposed one, there's no fee. They would have an additional application to the county for that. And it lists, let me read what it says. It's here. So we have to approve it as well. So that would be, our form would be the one that we would use to approve it. They have to list their hours of when they be on the right of way. They have to have physical barriers to protect people from traffic. If they can't have a 4-foot wide sidewalk, then we want a sidewalk close sign, which we would probably do here because we don't have enough space with the table to make it look like a sidewalk. Let's see. No encroachment, and we wouldn't want that either. No permanent structures within the highway right of way, but tents or not tents, but canopies, coverage, or umbrellas, those types of things aren't permanent. The owners are responsible for sidewalk cleaning to the county's satisfaction. Any damage to the sidewalk is the responsibility of either the local municipality or the owner or some sort of combination. We can't close County Road 2, so that doesn't count on this. The insurance policy would have to identify the spaces more, so just like we talked about earlier, that I talked about earlier. And have a hold harmless county from any damage. And that's also, if they use this public right away, we'll want the city indemnified as well on whatever insurance they have, just like we do when Hometown Pride happens or they do for Firefest. So those are what we are proposing for opening up and having outside seating for both restaurants and bars.
City Council, you guys have anything, any questions, any comments?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, go ahead, Doug.
maybe this is more a question for Katie or Bridget, maybe you would know too. The parking lot behind Red River Inn, who is actually the owner of that lot?
Lynn Sherman, the bakery owns the whole parcel.
So has Katie, maybe this is a question to you then. Have you talked with Lynn about possibly closing a little bit of that parking lot off on the back for seating for you?
Katie, you're muted.
Help!
There you
There
Can
you
you hear
go.
me now?
Yep, I
Okay.
can hear you.
Lynn has offered that I can use as much of the parking lot as I want.
Then I'd have a follow-up question. Then if she would use that parking lot, would we look at closing that entrance off of Red River into there?
So that would be where I obviously want the city's help. I have a customer who offered, I'm gonna do this without crying. A customer that offered to buy a tent for me to use. So depending on the size of the tent and how close it gets to that access, again, I want help from the city law enforcement. However, I don't want to make that choice
Okay.
safety
The
wise.
thing I would think you'd want to worry about is fire. So I would ask the fire chief, if he's on here, if he could weigh in
Right.
on if closing that would be an issue to get to all those buildings.
Right.
event of anything.
For us, I think there's enough access around the entire block that I would see the issue.
And I would think the fire wouldn't either.
Ian, what do you think? Mr. Weber? Can't hear you, Dan. Dan, if you're speaking, I can't hear you.
Bridget?
Yeah,
Hey, Bridget, I had asked you about those tents. Did you get a chance to check into them if that passes their
Yep,
COVID?
they just
Okay.
can't have walls. They
Just
can
the
have
sidewalls.
pergolas, they can have full covers, pergolas, just no walls.
Okay.
No walls at all.
I didn't see that in the request. I can check that.
Screened in areas for bars, restaurants,
Count.
considered outside.
Okay. So there could be screening.
Yeah, I'm Jason, my dog got in the room.
It's hard to hear that, Dan.
So it would only be Red River that we would shut. Cannot understand the thing you're saying, Weber.
Dan, if you're on a computer, go up to the chat. Up on the screen, there's a circle that looks like a comment.
It would only be Red River that we'd be shutting up.
It would only be for the Red River
You know what I
area.
mean?
A little better. Can you speak now?
Try it again, Weber.
Yeah.
Weber,
Dan, I'll call you.
Phone a friend.
yeah.
Hey, Bridget, tell them to get that fixed before our fire meeting later on tonight.
Yeah, exactly. You can turn your mic. Hello, Dan, you're on speaker now. Turn your computer off.
Can you hear me?
That was better.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay, go, Dan.
Can you hear me?
Not real
I-
well.
I hear the same mumble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might be. Yeah, Dan, can you turn your computer off or your mic?
I'm gonna go on in that room. Is that better?
Yes. Did you have an issue with?
Bridget, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm out of that back room. I have no, if you're trying to get us a meeting, we can still access the back of the bakery if we need to, but we still need to be. We still need to have room to get our trucks in there, so it can't be the whole back of that parking lot.
Just a little.
Sandy?
Yeah. We could work, but we could work with Katie to figure that out, right?
Right. Yeah, I can look, once everything, she gets set up, I can talk to Katie and figure out what we need to do.
Oh,
Yes, I would agree with that.
Katie, did you hear that?
Because we can-
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, just get a hold of Weber when we got it set up, and then we'll see what we can do. I'm sure we can get around everything there, but they can. Is there anything else anybody's got? Gary, you got any comments?
No, I don't.
I'm gonna let you go. I don't think we can hear me.
Last week I was on a call with Governor Walter, a host and sponsored by the Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities. And Governor Walter said that, and I've heard him say multiple times, that pains and taxes really into to do it. I understand that. I respect that.
All right, Bridget?
The common thing that means not allowed.
Bridget, whoever's talking, I'm having a hard time hearing them.
I gotta speak really loud because the microphones aren't working because the camera's off.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now, Dan?
That was on.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. So what I was saying is that I invite Governor Walz and I invite Attorney General Elton to come up here to these small towns and look at these bars and restaurants after we get in the building, have them invest in tents, have them invest in the city to spend extra time to help them develop safety plans and make sure things are in the right way, and come up here and see what this is doing and level the playing field for you. I understand we're trying to save lives. I understand that. And I respect the decisions they're making. I respect what they're trying to do. But you know what? Climb out of your governor's house, climb out of your office up there down in St. Paul, and come up here to these small towns and see what's going on. You know, I think you get a little better perspective if you see it. Keep your distancing, keep your face mask on, do whatever you have to do, but come up here and hear the people and see the people and see what's going on. I mean, it breaks my heart to think that what's happening with our governor and our attorney general, that they don't have faith that our small business owners don't love their business and love the people of Minnesota and have the same concerns, the same safety issues that everybody else. And I specifically speak of big box stores. You know, I was just in a big box store on Saturday, and there's no social distancing. Half of them are wearing face masks. The other half that are wearing aren't covering their entire face. Yes, they're counting people at the door, but they're walking up and down aisles next to people and 30, 40, 50 minutes in there. So I'm just asking to level the playing field for everyone.
I agree. I've talked to businesses around here, and they're willing. They've been ready to do this for well over a month now. And social distance on top of it all. They know exactly how to do it inside their building, yet we can't have them inside. I think it almost seems like we're just having them as puppets trying to see how far they can get to. I'm tired of it, but this is what we got to do. I don't know what to say except for that. I agree 100%. Jana, do you have anything?
No, I don't have any questions. I just wish we could fast forward and get everything open and get everyone running. And just move that direction, but we've got to take our steps. And hopefully people to watch. It's hard to watch when you walk into that you're in. And we want to support every single business and, you know, like, want to do what you can. And it's peaceful to watch when you can. So we hear you, and we're trying to move forward.
Suggestions after this, and we will do whatever we can to do it. I'm gonna go, Doug, you got anything else?
Just want to add, I mean, we as a council, we just need to do whatever we can for these small businesses or any business because, like you said earlier, he's down in the cities and he doesn't see what's going on in greater Minnesota, in my opinion. And we just need to make sure we can do whatever. And if we got to bend some rules or break some rules, that's what it is. I mean, until we get him to get on the same page with everybody else. But so we just gotta stick to our businesses.
Yep, I agree. Gary, you got anything to add?
I agree with Doug.
Okay, we're gonna,
Can I add one thing quick?
yes, go ahead, Bridget.
The resolution was drafted yesterday and today, and it does say on there that, and I wanted your input on it, and I know the city attorney's input would be yes to keep this on there, but I want to verify everyone who's watching and those who are here. The area outside either has to be owned or leased. We know there are some people that are very tight on their premise, and so if they have an agreement with a neighbor, it needs to be contiguous too. We don't want them having a walkway that's a block and a half away to use someone else's. So that's in the resolution, just for those online and those who are here, to know that if your neighbor wants to help you out and give you some space of theirs, you're obviously going to have agreement and add them to your that area to your liability. But that's a way to provide as much space as possible for each establishment to use, especially those landlocked ones who don't have large parking lots or space.
And just say liquor, licenses, tolerated.
Well, that's the next thing, because that's not part of this resolution. That was going to be part of the whole discussion, but I also put the resolution there. So I'm hoping you want to talk about that once you've voted on the resolution.
Okay, do you have anything to add?
My only thing to add is, again, I would personally like to find government health and attorney general health and the whole thing.
And do you have anything else to add? Okay, let's vote on that. Gary,
Yes.
Todd,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
and Shannon.
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Motion passes.
So about a week ago, we sent out some notices to everyone because licenses are due, fees due for July, because they go from July to June. Under our ordinance, we do have the authority to prorate for when an existing business holder isn't, or a license holder isn't open for part of a year. We've always done that for the golf course, but it's not exclusive to the golf course. And so we sent out the reminders, not asking for them to pay their bill yet because of this question. It's a month and a half that everyone was closed with a June 1st start. We'll basically call it two and a half months, so since mid-March. So under the ordinance, this 2019-2020 permit or license, we can knock that off of their next license. But I know a bunch of you had asked about reducing next year's license as well. So if you wanted to do anything to that, they have that one for sure, and you could do whatever you want, from 0 to half to, I know you'd all asked individually about it in various forms, so that's a discussion I thought you should have, and someone make the motion.
Jamie.
Now this would be for on sale,
Go ahead.
this would be on sale, intoxicating license on sale, club license, Sunday, brew tap, 2 a.m., wine, on sale, 3-2, bottle club, and cigarettes for those who have a cigarette license in a business that wasn't open. So those off sales, because off sale was always available, those are $100, and those would be the ones we would not. And the liquor stores would not, because they only have off sale.
Jamie, you have a question?
I would say this, as a city, the big picture of that revenue is a lot of money. And the city actually, we owe it to these small businesses to help them make what we can. I would propose a $1.
And a refund of last year, of this closed period, or
It's a little bit, one of the things we can do to help them, and I believe that bars and restaurants right now need all the help we can get. I know it's a little bit, we have a little bit to help. And if this helps, and we stay open and keep the roads going and keep people going, then, like I said, overall, the big picture, we collect from our commercial and residential taxpayers, this is a tiny amount of money. But for that small business, we can do for another month. I'm all for that. The $1 fee just for transaction. Discussion point that everybody.
Did you hear that?
You guys get that?
It was kind of mixed in there, so I didn't, something about the dollar, and then is that, Jamie, was that for the whole time or just $1 and then prorate the months that they're closed?
It would be $1 for, go closer.
No, that doesn't work.
Yeah, it would be $1 for this next round they would have been paying in July.
Yeah, for 2020 through 2021, it'd be $1.
And then we would issue
Okay.
the amount of time that they're closed.
And then refunds for the
Prorate the refund back.
2.5 months of 2019 to 2020. So,
Okay, and Bridget, this was the 15,000 that we had talked about what it was?
Yeah.
So we'd be waiving $1 per whatever minus out of the 15,000 for next year is that, am I getting that right?
we would take, from the 16,000, we would take in 1,175 on the off-sale licenses. Those would be the ones we would still probably want to collect. Unless you don't want to, but that would be the liquor stores, the gas stations, and 4 bars that have those.
Actually, we have it all. I mean, everybody's had to take it. We're not talking tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars here for a city as a whole. My opinion is, and we just had our audit in last meeting, we're financially, we owe our small business help.
It's gonna hit us 15,000.
Yeah, okay. But that, like I said, that's
Yes, exactly.
Well, it'll be a little more because it'll also be the prorated. So it'll be about 17,000.
Do you have any discussion before we make a motion or whatever we're gonna do here?
Gary, could you hear Dave?
Yes, I can. I don't have any comments.
Okay. You wanna make that a motion then, Jamie?
I'll make a motion.
Jamie makes the motion. I need a second for that.
This is Doug, I'll second it.
Doug seconds it. Any discussion on it? Otherwise, I'll go through. Gary,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Shannon.
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Motion carried.
Okay, so $1 in refund of on sale.
Yeah. So we're done with number 5 then?
Yep.
Okay. Thanks, everybody, for,
Assuming nothing happens between now and June 4th, which I'm assuming nothing does.
yeah,
This helps.
yes. Good minutes on there. Any questions you got? Come back to the city with it. Talk to me or anybody on the council. We'll kind of try to get everything straightened out before Thursday, right? Thanks for being on here. Go to number 6, request to conduct the Eagle Scout project at Lookout Park. Landon Winkleman.
Landon, can you unmute your mic?
Yep.
Do you want me to pull up your, oh, I lost it, your project?
Sure.
Okay. You want to introduce yourself while I'm doing that?
All right. I am Landon Winkleman. I am part of Troop 15 for Cold Spring, and I am currently working on getting my Eagle. I was looking to improve upon Lookout Park by taking out some of the trash and brush and clearing up the area a little bit.
And can you see your screen now there, Landon?
Yep.
Tell me where you'd like me to stop.
Stop, they can't hear you.
Okay. You want me to stop at these photos?
Sure.
Okay, there you go.
I'm planning on, like I said, cleaning up the brush. You can see some of the brush surrounding the fire ring and taking out some of the dead trees and fallen down brush. There's some garbage back there I saw when I went and scouted it out. Planning on bringing in my troop to pick up all the garbage from there to the bridge. If you guys have any suggestions, I'm open for that.
I do want to let you all know, the plan was for Landon to come to the park board meeting on April 26th, that we ended up not having because of the pandemic. We have not had a park board meeting yet, but we'd like to get the project started. And so I was unable to get him to a park board meeting beforehand, so. That's why he's here with us. The park board has not seen this, but I don't think the park board would disprove. Would you say that's true, Doug, that the park board, if they had had the opportunity, would have recommended it?
Yeah, I think they'd be ecstatic to have it done. The only question I have is he's aware of the property line there, right?
I'll make sure he is. Landon, part of it is not owned by the city, so we'll get that to you when you're starting your project.
Okay, yeah, I reviewed it a little bit, but I'm not exactly sure where the line is.
Great project, though.
Thank you.
No, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I think so too. I think. Do we need a motion?
Yeah.
Anything that?
Yep. Just a motion to approve allowing him to conduct his Eagle Scout project on Lookout Park.
Can I get a motion on that, city council?
I'll make a motion to approve.
David makes a motion. How about a second? Shannon seconds it. Any discussion on this?
Just contact me.
He'll start with me and then I'll hand him off.
Okay. You get that, Landon? Do you have any questions, Landon? Just direct them toward, Bridget. She's gonna be your contact with the city, okay?
Okay.
Right. There's no discussion, then we will vote on it. Gary,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Shannon, and I'm a yes. Motion carried. Have at it, Landon.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, go on to number 7. Public Works Director report, John Stevie.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council.
Hey, John.
Hi, John.
Didn't
Hey, John.
really have anything for approval tonight. But I did just get a text message about 5 minutes ago from a salesman down at Minnesota Equipment in Rogers. Not sure if it's something we can add, Bridget, or not, but we did put for 2020, we put in the budget for another John Deere Gator. We put in 7,000 in the budget. I found a 2019 Gator for 6,100 down at Minnesota Equipment in Rogers. If it is something we could add, that'd be great to approve tonight. We don't have to wait the 2 weeks, but it's up to you, Bridget, if that's something we can add.
Normally you'd get a second quote, but
Yeah, the other quotes are all around 7,000. We've been looking for the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, so.
so if you have at least 2 quotes, then that's all you'd need. So it's a matter of You didn't draw a picture for Shannon, so I don't know if she's gonna wanna see it purchased.
I can send you the picture I just got.
Cheater.
Somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve John's request for $6,100 for public works.
I need a second.
And some sham.
This is Gary, I'll second. This is Gary, I'll second.
All right, Gary seconds it.
Is 61 the final price, or is there 61 bucks?
John, does that include tax? Does it include license?
I don't believe we pay tax on that because it's not a vehicle that goes down the road on a highway.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So we got a motion and a second. Any discussion on it? Otherwise, Gary,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Shannon,
Yes, even without a picture.
He did text it to me.
and I, yeah, motion carries. Anything else, John?
Just some updates. It's that time of year again when people are mowing their grass. Make sure you mow your grass inside your yard and don't blow your clippings on the street. They're very hazardous to the storm sewers and cause a lot of damage. Also, I got an update today that we're picking up flower pots on Thursday. So we should have those up, hopefully Thursday afternoon. I believe that's all I have.
All right. Can't wait for them. Thanks, John. Anybody got anything for John before we go? Otherwise, we will move on to number 8. City engineer report. Brian Lynton, the mayor and council. Updates on County Road 158. Utility works moving west. We're about 8th Avenue right now. We started storm sewer in 14 to 17. So that's couple days in there, and then we're going to start building the road, starting at Red River, going west. Things are progressing nicely. Any concerns or questions?
I got one question. I have brown water, and assuming it's from because we're using fire. But it's only lasting maybe half a day, and they don't have it.
My guess is that they probably dislodged some, or the flows are probably maybe going a little different. We are shutting mains off in order to put the new mains in. So my guess is that it just stirred up some that
It's not harmful.
would not be harmful. They do test all the temporary water mains that have are tested for bacteria to make sure that that's happening. Right, otherwise I'll move on. Water treatment plant, we're still having meetings every 2 weeks to just go through, we're going through final design items, finalizing up, looking at kind of a July timeframe for a bid. So depending on how quick we can get it through the Department of Health, we've heard there's been some delays with some of their staff being used for other purposes. Wells 8 and 9, we fence pumped both wells. We got great results from them in the 1,000 gallon per minute range. Really what we want to get. Water main is in. We're working on testing that. And then so the next step is really just designing the pumps and the controls. So that's ongoing right now. But definitely good news on the wells. We got plenty of water. The sanitary sewer lift station water main improvements is part of that. We're working on the pipe layout right now, and working on getting soil boring. I have, as you see, 2 fields of soil boring. I did, we looked at them a little closer. I had one little mistake in it. I transposed the off-road with on-road zoning. So we looked at those numbers, compared them a little closer. Not actually $3.50, but more. And then we are also exploring a couple of different routes, and depending on pretty soon here what route we decide to go with, that will also impact cost. Because we got a unit price for it. So that unit price would allow us to go 6 different places if we wanted.
Like he's got marbles on his top. And
The route that would probably cost the most, my estimate, ITP would be the low based on the unit prices that they gave. I did speak with ITP, and they will only send unit prices to some different locations if that was the way we decided to go. That dollar amount was $11,644 and 50 cents. $11,644.50. I think we had around 20 or so soil borings. What we use these for is in our design, knowing what the conditions are, if we're going to run into the box. For the contractors that are going to be doing the directional drilling, it's going to be helpful to know what sort of material they're going to be working in. As well as at the lift station location, we have to start figuring out how thin the soil actually supports the weight of the lift station, or do we have to do other things to augment that? So, pretty critical part of all the parts and infrastructure we're putting in. So what I would be looking for is, right now the estimate is the 11,000 number based on one of the route options. I'd be looking for approval of.
What's the unit price?
There's I have half of it.
Oh.
Right, and that's the longest route. That right now is the anticipated longest route. We're still a little bit in flux working on some routes. Could be something to change, but as of right now, that's my best estimate as to where it was covered. All right. Can I get a motion on that 11,644.50?
This is Jamie. I'll make a motion to approve.
Jamie makes the motion. How about a second?
This is Doug, I'll second it.
And Doug seconds it. Any discussion on it? Otherwise, we will vote. Gary,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Shannon,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Motion carried. Thank you. And this going away.
Thanks.
And then the other item I had was the industrial pretreatment. We're just getting underway on that. Not much of an update, but one of the things we're working on. Okay. That's it. That's all. Any questions for Brian?
No.
Thank you very
No.
much. Thank you. Thanks, Brian. Number 9, police department report. Chief Lou.
Just a couple things for me. I attached an updated letter that would go to businesses if we did have a violation of this point. We need to work with everybody. We haven't had any issues. And going well. I know there's going to be a limit on how long that's going to be able to go. So trying to work with everybody to come up with the best solution. We also, with the pandemic, we worked with the county office around the BQP where everybody's monitoring personnel, anybody that's quarantined, anything like that. At this point, our department's doing well, and I work with other departments in the area that do have issues that I'm aware of. So everybody's staying healthy. And another thing is that the parks are now open. We just are just asking that limit it to the 10 people and all the safety guidelines that are safe, but the parks are open for use. I just wanted to thank everybody that came out for Big Truck Night. Normally it's a good gathering. This time it was, we set up in a parking lot and everybody drove by and waved. So a little different than what we're used to, but it was still a good turnout. And we got folks a lot of their hopes. One last thing that I didn't have on the list was the school has requested a temporary no parking zone on 5th Avenue from 5th Street north to 5th Street north on the school side of the road. What they're doing, they're redoing their parking lot starting June 3rd, and their Spartan spot, so the challenge there for kids is moving into the middle school area. So the best is what they have planned is have their drop off and pick up by door 4, which is the northwest corner of the school, kind of by the ALC, their garage area back in the transport. We don't want people going into that parking lot. They have a lot of maintenance people moving around. So they asked if we could use some no parking, temporary no parking from June 3rd to August 31st. In that area, and they're gonna monitor it. They asked to start with the full block and they'll shrink it down.
You need a motion on that? Somebody want to make a motion on, parking, no parking on, what's that?
Fifth Avenue between
Yes.
5th Street North and 6th Street North, from June 1st to August 31st.
This is Gary. I'll make a motion.
Jamie makes a motion, how about a second?
This is Jamie, I'll second.
Jamie seconds it. Any discussion on it? Otherwise, we'll vote. Gary,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Jamie.
Yes.
Shannon.
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Motion carries.
And that's all I have unless you guys have questions for me.
Anybody got anything for Chief Bloom? All right, thank you very much. Number 10, City Administrator Report.
All right, the first thing on there for me is the preparedness plan. I was working with various members of other city administrators. We have now a weekly meeting online to talk about issues that we're all dealing with in our city. And some of them have created a preparedness plan. We are still closed under the resolution that you passed declaring the pandemic or the emergency. Also locked the building. I would propose leaving that until we know whether the governor is going to extend it or not. And one thing that we weren't sure about is, can meetings still be held remotely like we're doing now? If all of you wanted to be remote, the only one that really has to be here is either the mayor, me, or the city attorney. So you could all be there if you want out at home. And we weren't sure if that emergency declaration lifts that we would now have to go back to full open public meetings. But it's an or, so it can be a pandemic or an emergency, declared emergency. So even if you lift the emergency, we can still conduct meetings this way because there is a global pandemic, there's a national pandemic, and there's a state pandemic. And so with that, we do want to probably open the building eventually. And I would say after that declaration, I would think the governor, he only opened it or closed it to June 12th. Your next meeting is June 9th. So I think by your next meeting, June 9th, he will probably kind of will know whether he's going to extend it. And so if he lifts it, I would be proposing that resolution is vacated and that the closing of the building is done. And when we open up, these are some of the standards that we're going to require. So I put together a preparedness plan based on what other cities are doing in the county. The one thing that's not on here, and I should probably talk with John about, is adding what staff from Public Works will do when they get an issue with water systems. They do have to sometimes go into houses. So we'll have to think about the full PPE or some variation of PPE for them for no contact. So with that, we might come back with another one on June 9th that's specific to his department, but this is for City Hall in the 2 divisions that are here. And so I just wanted to get approval from you, or if you had questions about it, and if you are okay with what we put in here, go ahead and implement this starting. We start tomorrow doing the steps in it, but we would definitely, once we open, the building's still gonna be closed, but this will give us opportunity to practice and get used to it before we start interacting with the public on the, on the approval of the preparedness plan.
Can I get a motion on that?
This is Jamie, I'll make a motion to approve.
Jamie makes a motion to approve. How about a second on it?
This is Doug. I'll second it.
Doug seconds it. Any discussion on it? Otherwise, we will vote. Gary,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Shannon.
Yes.
I'm a yes. Motion carries.
Last thing, I sent an email to both, to Gary and Doug with a letter, an attachment about parking of campers and ice houses and trailers. And I have a copy here for you to read. It's just a reminder to everyone that you can park a camper on your driveway, you can park an ice castle, you can park any of that on your driveway surface, as long as you don't have more than 4 vehicles out on that surface or in your backyard or by your garage if you have a back garage. But you also can't park them on the street for more than 72 hours. And you can't have them plugged in for more than 6 hours. You can have them plugged in to get prepared to go on a trip. You can't have them plugged in for 4 or 5 days preparing for that trip because we don't allow the use of campers in the city on a parcel. So just a reminder, someone had requested and they were concerned about people leaving them parked in driveways and on the streets. And I just wanted to let the person know that, and hopefully they're watching or they read the minute, that being on the driveway is fine. They just have to be on a hard surface if they're in your yard, if it's not actual grass.
Yes, go ahead. Wasn't there a law that was passed at your term?
We opted out of that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Bridget, what was that? I didn't hear what that was.
About 3 years ago, the legislature had created the temporary tiny house ordinance where you were allowed to have someone living in a camper on your property. Cities had to specifically opt out of that law or else it was going to become effective, and you did, council did pass opting out of that law.
Okay.
And that's all I have.
All right. Any questions for Bridget? Otherwise, we will move on to number 11. List of bills and additions. To review and accept payment of the accounts payable according to the list and supplemental list presented by city staff. I need a motion on that.
This is Jamie, I make a motion to approve.
Jamie makes a motion to approve. How about a second?
I'll second it.
Doug seconds it. Any discussion on it? Otherwise, all those, Gary,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Shannon.
Yes.
I'm a yes. Motion carries. Number 12, general questions and comments from city council. Gary,
None.
Doug,
None.
Jamie,
My only comment is if there's a bar or restaurant that has any help in the city, please contact us directly. We're here to help.
and that's any of us on council or anything, just give us a call. Shannon,
I was gonna reiterate that, also, if any small businesses incorporating, contact the city if you have questions or you need help or whatever the case may be, we will be done. Make it happen. So, thank you.
no, I have none. I would have said the same thing, but. Number 13, motion to adjourn next city council meeting, June 9th, 2020. I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Jamie makes a motion, how about a second?
This is Gary, I'll second.
Gary seconds it. Any discussion? Otherwise, Gary,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Shannon,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Motion carries. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you. Click on that.
Good night. Good night.
Good night.
Chat screen.